Okay, so we're going back to the machlokas, the Ravid and Tosfos about bringing Peiros Sheviis to Chutz La'aretz, right?
Right.
So Tosfos says the moment I take the fruits outside of the produce outside of Eretz Yisrael, I've now violated the prohibition, right? But is there anything tofes in the actual? Is there anything expressed in this thing? Is this thing asur? No, right? This thing is perfectly mutter until when? Until beer. And beer, then the whole machlokes in the Gemara is where I do beer. Okay, Ravid says what? I bring this outside of Eretz Yisrael. What happens there? Okay. The reason why I'm bringing the Rambam in, there's a reason why I brought him in. Is what should really bother you. Which side makes more sense? So obviously, from a categorical standpoint, the machlokes is going to rest on: is it an isra in the ma'isa or an isra in the chapsa? Right. Which is very nice, and if you could stop at that point, but you can get a little deeper. The Ravid is giving us a good reason. What's the Ravid's reason? The Ravid's reason is what? You mix it up. Very practical reason. Thank you. It's practical. What really is Tosfos worried about?
Right.
I know it's very nice. But I'm saying what's really bothering Tosfos. So Tosfos, why can Tosfos just say a guy brings his fruits to El Chutz La'aretz? Okay, so he's chayv biur. So you're going to say the reason why is because we don't want him to put himself in a situation.
No, he's worried that the guy's going to miss him on beer. And
you mean he won't bring his fruits back to Eretz Yisrael to do beer?
But you have to bring them back.
Yes.
Also sounds practical.
Okay, fine. But I want to go. Tosfos doesn't say that. All right. The Ravid says clearly why you can't bring fruits Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz, but Tosfos doesn't say that. So I think from the Rambam you can work back to what Tosfos' reason is. You'll have to do that, by the way, just as a methodology rule. You can take one Rishon, extract an idea from him, and see how it applies to another Rishon. You can do that. So
not cheating.
No. So look at the Rambam. Just read the Rambam inside one more time. So the Rambam says in Perek Hey, in Hilchos Shmita V'Yoba Alach Yud Gimel, he says, Peiros Sheviis ein motziin osam ma'aretz Chutz La'aretz v'afil l'Surya. So one isser, he says, or one halacha is, I can't bring Sheviis to Chutz La'aretz. Now, we know, by the way, what the Rambam holds. We know that from the other halacha in the Rambam. He holds it's a problem of biur. Right? Same thing as Tosfos. He holds the same issue applies. He doesn't hold like the Ravid, that is an issue in the chapsa. And what's the second thing he says? Ve'im ma'achilun osan l'goy. I can't feed it to a guy. So my question to you is, how do you unite these two things? What are these Yisurim talking about here?
Well,
You asked the right question. The question Dylan asks is, why would it be a problem giving it to a guy? What are you worried about? And it's not doing
Halachos of Kedushas Sheviis.
Okay, now we're talking. Binyamin's on the ball. What does that? So come on, let's talk that out. So what does he mean? You're right, Binyamin. So what does that mean?
You would have thought that doesn't apply to a guy.
No, if I give it to a guy, what am I worried about? Well, Binyamin just said, what's the guy going to do?
He's just going to throw it out.
Right. Now, one second. Now, think about it, though. Realistically speaking, was that my problem? No.
But technically, unless you want to posit that Kedushas Sheviis, you owned it though.
I did. I don't have it anymore. Yeah, but what should I be? But I should be.
You know that the guy.
You should have made him aware of the fact.
No, but he's not going to take care of it. Why? He's not obligated to take care of it, right? But what does it show?
There's something in the chapsa
that you retain.
No, close.
That you retain. I wouldn't say you retain ownership, but you retain responsibility in guiding the fruit in this proper distance.
Exactly. In other words, there's an idea. It's an amazing idea. There's an idea in Sheviis that it goes beyond the simple, strict halachic boundaries, but a person has to have a certain attitude when it comes to Kedushas Sheviis. All Kedushas Sheviis. So when it comes to the guy, what's the problem giving it to a guy, ultimately? Because the guy's not going to dispose of it properly, and that reflects back on the fact that you're not being zahir. There's a certain zahirus that's required by Sheviis. So that's what I want to say, and therefore, if that's what I'm saying, so now, how does it answer the Rambam?
Because it's all part of the same category.
Thank you. In other words, you're 100%. When a guy brings his produce outside of Eretz Yisrael, what's the problem with that?
He's not going to deal with Sheviis, right? He's not going to be able to bring back.
He's not being zar. I don't think it's a practical problem like mixing them up. That's like a relevant practical problem. This is more like a din and zahirus. Like a person should be very careful how he treats his Sheviis produce. So the isser it's not the isser is that he's not going to do beer. It's more that he shouldn't put himself in a situation where now this could become a problem.
Zera.
I won't call it Zera. Because it could be. I'm not going to say it's not. But I'm not so worried about that lashon.
I thought that was the definition of it.
Why am I pushed to say this? All right. So the reason why is because. And by the way, so let's go back to what Ezra. Let's go back to what Ezra was thinking about before, but just apply his thinking, but just change the facts he was working with. In other words, Ezra's right about one thing. Ezra's right that what was bothering me about Tosfos was that like I can understand why how the Ravid, and this is where the machlokas comes in. This is the real svar of the machlokas. It's not just going to be din in the Maisa versus the Chefsa. The real machlokas is the Ravid is positing that what do the Chazal do here? They created a completely separate Isser. And what's that Isser?
Deed.
What? No,
Taking it out.
Right, taking it out. It's just new Isser. It's a new Isser. Because the reason for it is I might mix them up. So that's a whole new Isser, and that's why they can say it's an Isser in the Chefsa.
His is more like
Right, but what was bothering, and this is what we said, right, he's more like a zero. What was bothering me, you're correct. What was bothering me about Tosfos though is this, no, what was bothering me about Tosfos? I'm going to tell you what it's saying in a second, but you're right. In other words, the Ravid's, in my thinking, the Ravid's really saying what? The Ravid's saying that Chazal came along and created a standalone Isser called Isser Hotzas, produce from Eretz Yisrael. Nothing to do with beer. But the problem that was bothering me, this is what was bothering me about Tosfos, okay? No, nothing to do with beer, according to Ravid.
With what?
That I'm going to mix up the fruits when I get to Chutzlaretz. Yeah. Nothing to do with beer.
No, so I'm mixing it up.
I may, this might be Chayv Sheviis, and I won't know about it, and I'll throw it away. Right. Tosfos, though, was the problem. Why was Tosfos a problem? Because Tosfos is funny. Tosfos, and I mean the Ram also, but Tosfos is saying, what's the whole problem here? The problem is a beer. The question is this Isser of taking produce out? Is it really? In other words, you can't be. It's not a separate Isser in beer. It doesn't even seem like it's an extension of beer. The Ram I'm showing you is not an extension of beer. What's it an extension of? Zahiros. Nothing to do with beer. It's not that's a mistake people make. It's nothing to do with beer. That's to do with a certain way you're supposed to treat the produce in general. It's an extension of how I relate to the produce. That's why the Rambam's able to put them together. So I want to say the machlokas between Tosfos and the Ravid ultimately really comes down to what were Chazal misakin. Were they misakin a whole new? Were they misakin a whole new Isser?
Be careful if you go on like a cruise from like in the Mediterranean Sea, and like you stop off in Israel. And you have fruits.
Correct.
And you bring it on your ship.
Right.
And then you leave.
Right.
And that's a problem.
You always have to be careful. You have to be careful every time to. All right. So I'll just read this one line. You don't have Tosfos. Where you're Beizim Sachem. There's one line in the Gemara that you have to do. All right. If you look in the middle of Nun Beizim Sachem. So after this halacha about bringing produce to Chutzlaretz, right? So it says like this. It says, yeah, you have to read one line. So Rav Safra nafak me'eretz Yisrael l'chutz la'aretz. Right, hava b'haje garba dechamra de Sheviis. Okay, and then the Gemara. I'll explain to you what that means in a second. And then the Gemara goes into a whole back and forth what we paskin like. Okay, what does that mean? What did Rav Safra do? Rav Safra took with him a bottle of Sheviis wine.
Nice.
Okay.
Garba is a bottle?
Yeah, a thing of Sheviis wine, right, from Eretz Yisrael to Chutzlaretz.
Nice.
Okay. 1 second. So what question do you have to ask on that?
Asur!
How can you do that?
How could he?
How can you do that?
Well,
right?
the form.
Look at Tosfos Rav Safra Afik Garba Dechamra Eretz Yisrael Chutzlaretz, right? So Tosfos says Hiksha Riva, right? So this is a kasha. Why? It's not in Parak Vav the Sheviis. Ein motziin shemen sreifa u'peiros Sheviis min ha'aretz l'chutzlaretz. There's an open mission that says, and there goes your shinoi thing. Okay, I can't bring oil where there is a shinoi from the zayas to the oil, or produce. I can't bring. It doesn't matter. As my point is, the Mishnah openly, shemen sreifa. It's shemen yisrael, right? So it doesn't matter what the status of the thing is, right? It's exactly Sheviis. Okay. So how can he do that? How could it be the Rav Safra was over Nisser? I mean, why would the Gemara record that? Forget who we paskin like it's irrelevant. He was over Nisser. That's what the Gemara is suggesting.
What?
Tosfos says, so what's the answer? Tosfos says, v'tirate. So Tosfos says, the Hasam, right, Mairi Achila. So the Gemara's case is talking about what? When I bring out my Peiros Sheviis for what purpose?
To eat it.
To eat it. Then I'm over the Isser. But what was he doing it for? Rav Safra, Afik, Lischora.
To sell it.
To sell it. How can he sell it? Okay, what do you mean? There isn't what the way to do it.
What do you mean?
So Tosfos is saying what? Tosfos is saying it's not an issue if I'm doing it for... Right, but if I do it for Achil, it is. So the question you have to ask is...
What about Ravid?
Forget the Ravid. He doesn't hold it. Tosfos doesn't like the Ravid.
Oh,
yeah.
The question's not so...
No, so what question you have to ask on that? Come on, easy question.
Beer.
Well, forget beer. Well, but a better question.
It's doesn't matter.
What? No, but you can. Who cares? You can, because you know why? He's doing it away.
Why does it matter if it's less than 3 meal or whatever the shear is?
No, that's too fundamental. We know that's the case. That's a given.
Why does it matter the score?
Still bring
Thank you.
What?
Who cares? Why do we care that it's l'schora versus l'achla? How does l'schora get you out of the problem? Those are just pull one out of?
Is
But he said that 2 minutes. He said, how do you sell it?
No, he wants He wants to know in general how you can sell it. That was your question, right?
Somewhat.
Right. No, in other words, why are you telling me the Sora is better than the Aqua? What's Tosfos' second answer? Inami, maybe we'll say what? Right. Okay, so Tosfos says the yesh schar shemuteres. There's a mutter way to do schar in chutzar and with Sheviis. So what do you say? No, Inami b'shuki. You'll see.
Accent, and then he sold it.
No. He brought it out by accident. He's over the Isser. Now the question is,
Can you sell it?
no schar anymore.
What does he do?
Yeah, the question is, so now he's over the Isser. So now the Gemara is talking about what do I do about beer? What do I do beer? Do I do beer in a chutzar or not? But I did a b'shogeg. Okay?
That gets out of the problem.
Right, that easily gets out of the problem. Well, how do you answer the first one? Okay? But it gets even better. It gets even better because watch this. Okay? What you're about to see is very rare to happen, but it's amazing when it does. Okay? So the question you asked was, how could Tosfos make this distinction? Okay? Like, where did you get this from? It's such a powerful question. Listen to what the Chazon Ish does. All right? And it's Imsachim, Nun Beis, whatever. So he says, he says, V'tiris the Hasam Mairi. You see that? I bracket off for you. It says, V'tiris the Hasam Mairi l'schora. Okay, so this must be a case of the Tosfos answer is of schora, right? V'rav safra afik la'achila, right? So,
What? Yeah, so why?
What does that mean?
okay, so
What?
what?
Not
Right. So what does that mean? Okay. Okay. So look what he says. He says, you'll see what he's doing. He says, chinami ditzarach lomar. So this is what it must say. It must say that what's the case, right? That he was bringing out for schora. The Gemara is talking about schora, and he took it out for lechila. What's he doing with this? Watch. He says, the ein svara sheim mutter lehotzi l'schora. You can't possibly tell me it's mutter to take out these Peiros Sheviis for exactly. You can't possibly tell me that it's mutter to take out these Peiros Sheviis for schora. V'yu halukachen mutarin la'achlan, and then therefore what? Whoever I sell it to is going to therefore be mutter for them to eat, right? Who wants more aser? Okay, now that's important. He's injecting his own svara there to begin with, which is what?
Yeah, the chapsel is awesome.
Okay, so he's obviously operating on a different premise.
Well, maybe he didn't really.
How do you
Stop.
What?
Let's get it out there right now.
Did he mean us?
So he says, the old b'pshuto Rav Safra afik l'nashev l'limkor, and therefore, and also the simple way of reading it is that he took it out for himself and not to sell it. Where did you get that from? Or eat away. In other words, it says aval nira de to so from who? This whole thing is a mistake, right? The kavanasam lefare shelo asur chacham lahotzi el almanas limkor. Should say limkor, right? Uvemocher ma'at mutter lo limkor, right? Mikol mokum laholich lechutz aretz l'shem mechira aser. But so what are the chacham aser? They're chacham aser only if I'm going to go sell, right? Like stam, like real mechira. But if it's only like a mechira ma'at, right? That's okay to do because that's not a problem. Okay. So ulatiris bas the then he tries to answer the second one. So what's he doing here? What's the Chazon Ish saying? He's saying this very distinction Tosfos is making that we thought Tosfos is making can't be that distinction. Tosfos is not saying that it's.
So he's arguing on Tosfos?
He's saying the Girsa is wrong.
Defining.
He's saying it doesn't mean that he took it out for achila, but whereas schora is mutter. He's saying the opposite. He's saying for sure schora is aser, and he took it out for achila. He's rewriting Tosfos. Tosofrim. He's saying Tosfos can't mean.
Somebody touched on that.
The first
what?
The first one you read Tosfos.
Oh yeah, correct. No. How would you get out of that? How would you get out of that? You're still going to run the same. The Chazon Ish doesn't win because you're still going to run into the same problem of what you can't eat it. You're still over the Isser, right? So how does he sneak out of that?
The key is methodology. The first way you're reading it when he says l'schora.
If you read Tosfos in here, Tosfos says that Rav Safra afik l'schora. Which says what? What he didn't take it out lachila, took it out l'schora, and l'schora is mutter. So Chazon Ish says there's no way you can read it that way. Can't be.
So how you read it?
He says, you read it that. What did he do? He says, here's the hasam mairi l'schora, v'rav safra afik lachila.
What does that mean?
It means that he took it out for. Could be he took it out for schora. He took it out for achila.
So he added the word lo.
No, he flips it around. He changes from hasam mairi lachila to hasam mairi l'schora. The Gemara is dealing with the case of schora.
He just changes the words.
He changed what?
He literally just changes the words.
Right, he changes the words. What was bothering him so much? I can't define the Chazon Ish completely because it's hard to define a late contemporary Acharon. It's almost very, very difficult.
Why?
Because it's difficult. They don't write the same way. They don't.
Because they don't think the same way.
Right. So the question is, but what's bothering him? Why does he say it's impossible? That's the question I want to answer. Why does he say it's impossible to believe that Tosfos would ever ever assume that a person could bring out fruits from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz to sell them?
Because
Why is he so bothered by
They have
that?
certain axioms.
What do you mean?